even in the age of digital, nothing lasts forever. Is that not the truth, my friends? So with the news today of DuckTales Remastered leaving digital storefronts in a duck blur on August 8th, just a couple days away, it really got me thinking. I know a lot of people are talking about DuckTales, but there's so much more involved with this. Where is gaming heading? Where are we at now? In my eyes, with the digital future, which is what we're being led to believe everything is going to turn into at some point, and there's a lot of little trinkets of that now with certain ways games are distributed, how developers are putting out games just being delisted, that kind of stuff. It's a scary future, but it's making me look at it more like video games in general are becoming more of a disposable form of entertainment than they ever were before. So we're going to talk about some of this today, look at some games that were delisted, that have gone extinct, no longer are accessible by any kind of legal means. Just give you guys my thoughts on this. So before we jump into this, real quick, really do appreciate you guys helping me get to 70,000 subscribers. To celebrate, CastlemaniaGames.com has partnered with me to do an awesome giveaway. We're giving away an Eon Super 64 HDMI adapter for the Nintendo 64, an M-Cable Gaming Edition HDMI cable with the processor built in, all that good stuff, and a Brawler 64 from Retro Fighters controller, the ultimate Nintendo 64 setup, several $100s worth of equipment, all going to one lucky winner. Link is in the description for that giveaway. I believe we have about a week to go before the winner is announced. Castlemania Games will ship that direct to whoever wins it worldwide. No duties, no fees, nothing like that. You just get the stuff. So after that giveaway is done, I'm also going to be announcing a new giveaway that I've already teased, which is going to be a Nintendo Switch Lite, the Pokemon Edition. Stay tuned for that. Be subscribed to the channel so you can get information when that goes live. But back to this digital world that we're going to be living in. Holy crap. When you dig into this stuff, it's just got me thinking, man. You know, we talk about a lot of retro games on my channel, and I really think like the golden age of gaming and the way companies went about developing games was completely different. Like with retro games, you got complete games. There was no DLC. There was no digital distribution for the most part. You know, once you started jumping into, you know, fewer later systems that, you know, earlier systems anyway, that were disc-based, some systems started having some kind of digital aspect to them, online aspects. But in general, most of these games that were released, you know, it seems like they put more effort in the bug testing. You got a complete game for the most part. You got your money's worth. Nowadays, it just doesn't seem that way with DLC, season passes. Holy crap, a season pass for every freaking game that comes out. Dragon Quest Builders 2, there's a season pass. I just want a complete game. I guess I don't have to, you know, get that stuff. It does seem like it's a fairly complete game, but a lot of games are released where they're just not complete. I started reading through some of the comments on here, and one that really got me thinking even more so was this comment right here from Goth Bunboy. Fun fact, and this one's really irks me because you're seeing a lot more instances of this. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 is completely unplayable now because the disc only has the tutorial level. To me, that's just pure laziness. Developers are doing this kind of thing, not just because like this is a PS4 game, but like the Nintendo Switch, for example, they don't want to pay for the larger memory cartridges, that kind of thing. So they want you to download half of the game so they can save some money and make more money. Just ridiculous. There's no excuse with the PS4 for the most part. It's just laziness. The game wasn't ready by the time they pressed the disc. They're lagging on bug testing. They're lagging on getting things done. I don't know how companies get games approved to be released on systems when the full game is not on the disc or the cartridge. Makes zero damn sense to me. So he or she states, you had to download the rest of the game from an update, but the server with the update was shut down. That's the future, my friends. Servers being shut down, online aspects being shut down. You're not going to be able to play online with a bunch of games forever. I mean, we kind of expect that. But to not have access to an offline game, to an offline mode, because the server's shut down, if this is true, which I mean, I'm not doubting it. I haven't looked into this specific instance, but that really sounds like bullshit. You go to buy this game, brand new, sealed, or used, and you can't freaking play it. Like, and where's the announcements on that? There are no announcements. You buy these games, you buy these systems or these services. Google Stadia is another one a lot of people are talking about with all digital and that kind of thing. When you really look into these things, the end user agreements, the licenses that you agree to, this stuff is all spelled out. Like, hey, it's pretty much like, screw you. We can end services. We can terminate this license that allows you to play this game. Even if you own the game, you know, in a physical format, right? Any game doesn't freaking matter. You have it physical. You don't own the shit. You just don't own it. You just have a license to be allowed to play the game. That's just the way it works. But they can shut down services. They can end the playability of these games. They can do whatever the hell they want, essentially, whenever they want, without notice. You know, most times it seems like in some of these clauses that I've read, they don't necessarily have to give notice. I don't know if there's certain areas in, you know, the world or in this country, wherever, there might be things where it's like, hey, you have to give notice. I don't know. But it does suck that these things are going to happen. It's just ridiculous. You know, how many other games are released like this where the full game is not on the disc or the cartridge? Like Spyro Trilogy is one of them. That's just crazy. You know, you got the first game and then the first like area on the second two games. You have to download the rest of the game. What's the excuse for that? To me, it just seems like the game wasn't ready. So I'm not sure if they're going to do that with the Switch release of it. But if they do, that's bullshit too. Give me the full game. I don't want to have to rely on your servers. What 10 years from now? Somebody wants to relive this collection of games and they can't play it because the servers shut down. You can't download the rest of the game. That's nonsense, man. That's just ridiculous. So with this future of gaming, really things just the way developers are designing games, the way they're developing things, putting them out there. These games are meant to be disposable. They're not meant to be played forever. The preservation of gaming to a lot of people is important. Does it really matter? I guess it's just up to you to think on those things. But at some point, you know, human civilization is not going to exist anymore. Video games aren't going to mean a damn thing. But in between now and then, who knows when that could be? People want to play their games. They want to enjoy their time on this earth. They can't take these games with them, right? So it's an important thing. And with stuff like this, that's where emulation is a key factor. And I know a lot of people, you know, put emulation down for whatever reason. They have an elitist attitude or they just, you know, whatever it is. I think it's just, there's multiple reasons that people put down emulation. But it's a key factor in preserving games to be able to be enjoyed and played in the future, because stuff like this happens. Games are not released completely physical or digitally. They get delisted and the access is lost to them. So people who work on emulation, people who are pulling these ROMs, putting stuff together to, you know, be able to still be played and enjoyed either through emulation or being able to mod your system and add it however you want. I think that's key for some of this stuff, and it just sucks that it has to be that way, but it has to be, you know. So once you start really digging into delisted games, holy crap, I highly recommend, if you're really interested in this topic, look at some of these games that are being removed. Retro City Rampage, delisted, but why? Call of Duty, which kind of Call of Duty like falls into what I'm talking about as far as disposable gaming. You know, the game's released every freaking year. It's mostly an online thing. There's been versions, there's no single player type aspect to it. These games aren't going to last forever. They're going to be shut down at some point. People do migrate from one version to the next. So, you know, there's usually that drop off of people playing these games. But at some point, they're just gone, and the developers don't care. They're just about making that next set of money, putting out that DLC, those season passes. You're not buying a $60 game anymore. You're buying a $200 game to get the full experience that's only expected to last for that year. After that, they want you to move on to the next money trap, buy those loot boxes, buy those DLCs, those season passes. Holy crap. It's like a season pass to Disneyland. But what the hell? I mean, not as expensive though. But yeah, looking at this, what Epic Mickey, Disney's Epic Mickey, what is this? Delisting no later than April 1st, 2019. Digitally released from Nintendo 3DS. So that was removed. It was delisted. Bye-bye. But, you know, some of these games, they were released physically, so there's still that aspect of it. If you go on this website, they have an extinct list. There's hundreds of freaking games on here that have been delisted. The extinct list is the one that's really interesting because it lists games that were never released physically. They were only digital releases. And how many times does this happen? A game is released digitally and we're never told if there's going to be a physical version of it. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Sometimes you have a limited run version of it from, limited run games or whoever else is a carbon copy of that, kind of a business, model of limited released games. Sometimes that happens, but there's still a lot of games you have no clue if they'll ever be released physically. Sonic Mania was one of them. At first it was only digital. They had a collector's edition that was released in stores, but it just came with a code, right? And then eventually they released it physically, but we didn't know that from the get-go. So it's kind of a thing you never know. There's other things, like I remember doing a video a long while back, Cuphead, for the Xbox One, a game I've never played, to be honest with you. So it is what it is. I've never played the game. My kids did. I bought it for them. It just wasn't one I was really that interested in. I know people are going to be like, unsubscribe, thumbs down. You didn't like Cuphead. It's not that I didn't like it. I just never played it. Maybe eventually I will. But I did a video on that where it was released in a physical case in the store and there's no disc in there. It didn't come with the disc. It didn't come with a code. Your code was printed on the receipt. Now, the dude didn't tell me nothing. Maybe he assumed, or maybe he just didn't know that the code was on there. Maybe he didn't even know it was a digital game because it was in a freaking case, right? But what if little grandma goes there to buy it for little Timmy for Christmas and she loses the receipt because she thinks it's a freaking game, right? Little Timmy's shit out of luck. He's getting an empty case, mofo. That kind of stuff sucks. But this extinct list, you can sort it by platform and you just start looking. There's a lot of interesting stuff on here. You can choose the system and you'll see like a lot of games that people probably like, who cares about that? But somebody does. Somebody does. Some of these Gameloft games, I never cared for them. They're all like mobile games type things. But there's going to be franchises on here that people recognize. Mr. Driller, delisted, never released physically. Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Anniversary Edition, the same thing, delisted. It is extinct, never released physically in that form, the way that game was released there. So there's tons of stuff. You start looking at the Telltale Games, releases, companies going out of business, things being delisted. Luckily, a lot of those games had, physical releases, and I'm sure, some people are fine with that. You could still get some of those games, but when that story was going on, it was just like, yep, more of the same. Game companies going under, games being delisted. It's just a ridiculous thing. You had Scott Pilgrim on like the 360 and various other systems as well, delisted, gone. A lot of people are really upset with stuff like that. It's just like Scott Pilgrim versus the World is removed, is gone. Delisting December 30th, 2014. Was available for 4 years. That was it. 4 years. It's gone. If you didn't buy it, it's gone. You ain't playing it. Like that's the thing that sucks is like we're losing access to cool games, not just these mobile dumping grounds of games, not just that stuff, even though people do care about that as well, but like solid, awesome games. I have this game on my 360, but what about people who've recently discovered the game? People who who recently discovered Scott Pilgrim, they want to play this game. The game is damn fun. It's gone, delisted. A lot of the Konami brawler games that were released this way, delisted. The digital release games, they're just gone. We have companies like Google Stadia where, they're going all digital with this stuff and people are blasting them like, hey, what happens when Google just decides to discontinue the service like they've done with a lot of others? Your games are going to be gone and there's nothing you could do about it. Most likely in those end user agreements, just going to say something along the lines of like, we can shut down the service whenever we want and you're shit out of luck, fool. Better luck next time, right? It's just the harsh reality of this world. Digital distribution of games being just disposable. Like, don't count on having these games forever. That's the unfortunate truth. But hey, I just wanted to share my thoughts and opinions on it. Definitely check out delistedgames.com. Very useful resource. They also have a watch list for servers that are being shut down and games that are being delisted. Burnout Paradise, the original version of the game servers are being shut down, so you could play the remastered version instead. That kind of thing. I mean, you could scroll through the different months and take a look. Naughty Dog's PlayStation 3 titles, last day to play, September 3rd. The online modes are gone. Tons of stuff like that, man. Really interesting website to take a look at. They're constantly updating this with newer information. But hey, really do appreciate you guys. With that said, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, bye-byes, and boom. Bye. Bye-bye.